Hey, I have spent most of my life learning how to give. I buy thoughtful gifts, I remember people's coffee order, I show up, I check in. I am, by all accounts, a good giver. And yet, every time someone gave something to me, I'd immediately say, "You really didn't have to, this is too much, now I owe you." And I thought I was just being humble, but I don't think it was. I think I was just really bad at receiving. And I didn't realize that was shaping my life until I heard something in a class that kind of broke my brain. People who receive well are happier. And that's what we're talking about today. The psychology of happiness that I took in the lecture, my professor said something strange. There are two indicators that tell you whether someone is happy, just two things. The first one is how often they get sick with a cold, and the second one is how many gifts they receive in a year. Not birthday gifts, not holiday gifts, the ones that come out of nowhere. I saw this and thought of you, no reason, just felt like it, those ones. And I remember sitting there thinking, calls and gifts? The professor said it's based on Havard research that has been running for over 80 years. Okay, I needed to know more. Before I get into the research, can I tell you about this actor? There's this Korean actor named Koo Kyo-hwan, and every time he wins an award, it's a popularity award, not even a big acting prize. He reacts like he just won an Oscar. Arms open, hugging everyone around him, walking up to the stage with his whole entire chest, and every single time people say the same thing. He makes you want to give him some thanks. Not because he's performing gratitude, just because he's so fully there. And I thought about that a lot because being someone people want to give to, that's not just personality, that's something else. Okay, Harvard. There's a study called the Harvard Study of Adult Development, started in 1938 and still going. 724 people followed for over 80 years, billions of data points, and the conclusion? Good relationships keeps us happier and healthier. But here's the thing. Relationship sounds vague, so how do we actually measure the quality of people's relationship? That's where it gets interesting. A researcher named Sheldon Cohen ran a kind of unhinged experiment. He took healthy volunteers and literally put cold viruses in their noses. And the people with stronger, warmer social connections got sick way less. Same virus, different outcome, not because they worked out more, not because they ate better. The quality of their relationship changed their immune response. And here's the science. When you're lonely or isolated, your cortisol goes up. That's your stress hormone. High cortisol suppresses your immune system. Your body literally becomes more vulnerable. But when you're surrounded by real warmth, your immune system activates. You fight things off better. So getting colds a lot isn't just a body thing. It's your body telling you something about the quality of your connection. And that's why it's happiness indicator, not because cold equals sad, but because your immune system is literally running on your relationships, kind of a lot, honestly. So back to the gifts. My professor said, don't count birthday gifts, don't count holiday gifts. There's a basically social accounting. Count the ones that come out of nowhere. I saw this and thought of you. No reason, just felt like it. This is so random, but here, those ones. And the more of those you receive, the happier you probably are, because those gifts are not actually about the object. The real message inside every single one of them is just, I thought about you today for no reason. Some people had on their minds with zero obligation. And if that happens a lot in your life, it means you have people around you who genuinely care. And that is what the Harvard study says in the core of happiness. Not the gifts themselves, but what they prove that your relationships are real. The people choose you when you don't have to. The professor even told us to count them, like literally go home and count. I did, and I had more than I realized actually, and also way fewer than I wanted. And that gap told me something. But okay. Be honest, is that what gifting feels like anymore? Birthday gifts, return the favor, match the price point, send it through an app so you don't really have to think about it. It's become more like social accounting, hasn't it? Auto renew, auto reply, auto gift. A French philosopher, Jacques Derrida, okay, I'm bringing a French philosopher, so stay with me, said something extreme. A true gift ceases to be a gift the moment it is recognized as one. Because the second you think I received something, the obligation to give back just kicks in. And now it just becomes an exchange, not a gift. So the gifts that actually count, the ones that mean something, are the ones with no expectations attached. No obligation, no I owe you, just you. So what do people who receive a lot of gifts have in common? So do they just give more? That's part of it, but it's not the whole story. Because some people give constantly and still don't receive much. Some people who give less somehow always seem to on the receiving end. What's the actual difference? How they receive. When you receive a gift with genuine joy, when you're just fully present and happy about it, the person who gave it feels like their love actually landed. That feeling makes people want to give him again. But when someone gives you something and you immediately said, oh no, you really didn't have to. Even it comes from a good place, even if it's your version of being humble, what's the giver here is your effort wasn't necessary. And that quietly discourages them from giving again. This is literally behavior psychology, actually. Positive reinforcement, joyful response, giving gets reinforced, they give more. Receiving well isn't just polite, it's what keeps the whole world cycle going. And here's what I noticed when I stopped saying you didn't have to. The gifts kept coming, actually, and I started giving more too. Not out of obligation, out of overflow. But here's the thing, receiving well is actually really hard because the moment someone gives you something, there's this tiny, almost invisible question that flashes in your mind. Am I someone who deserves this? And if that answer isn't a clear yes, you deflect, you minimize, or you immediately try to repay. For me, the reason I always rushed to give something back wasn't just from gratitude. It was because some part of me didn't really allow to just receive. Like I needed to earn it or make it even or prove I was the worth gesture. And that discomfort, that I feel bad accepting this feeling, that's not really about manners. That's about how much you believe you're worth being loved. So practicing receiving well is actually practicing worthiness. Every time you let yourself be fully happy about a gift, every time you don't deflect or immediately try to repay, you're telling yourself, I'm someone who gets to be cared for. And that changes things, not just with gifts, with compliments, with opportunities, and with love. So here's what I want you to try. Next time someone gives you something, don't say you didn't really have to. Instead, just receive it like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did this. I needed this so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate this. I'm going to use this well. That's it. Just let it land fully without deflecting, without immediately thinking about how to repay it. Just be someone who receives well and watch what happens. And I started thinking about grace, not as a concept, but as something I had misunderstood. For a long time, I treated faith like a system. If I do enough, if I try enough, if I believe enough, maybe I earn love, maybe I earn forgiveness, maybe I earn acceptance. But that's not grace, that's a transaction. Ephesians chapter 2 verses 8 says, grace is a gift of God, not a reward, not a payment, a gift. And then I read Matthew chapter 20. Jesus tells a story about workers in a vineyard. Some start early in the morning, some arrive at the last hour. At the end of the day, they all receive the same payment. And the early workers became angry for sure. And honestly, I understand them. They worked longer, they endured more heat, they did more. So naturally, they expected more. But the owner says something simple. Didn't we agree on this? You're not cheated. You're just upset because someone else was treated generosity. And that is where it hit me. Grace breaks fairness. It breaks calculation. It breaks comparison. Then immediately after that story, the disciple asked something. Can we sit at your right side and left side? the best seats, the highest position, the place of honor. And Jesus doesn't reject them. He asks us a question, can you drink the cup I am about to drink? The cup, the cost, the weight. And I realized something. I often want the seat without the cup. I want the outcome without the cost. I want the glory without the weight. But Jesus says something else. If you want to be great, you must become a servant. And that reframes everything. Because grace is not a transaction, but it is not also light. Because it transforms you. When grace fully lands, you do not stay the same. You stop calculating. You start receiving like a child. And Jesus once said, unless you become like a child, you cannot enter the kingdom. A child doesn't calculate. A child just receives. No payment, no comparison, no earning, just open hands because they exist. And that is grace. You don't earn it. You can't repay it. You only receive it. And here's something beautiful. The Greek word for grace is charis. The gratitude, ikaratsia, comes from the same root. Grace and gratitude are literally the same word. Because when grace is real, gratitude comes natural. And that gratitude changes your whole life. Just like receiving gifts joyfully brings more gifts, receiving grace with open hands fills your life with more grace. The structure is the same. The practice is the same. It starts with just letting yourself receive. And maybe that's why learning to receive gifts in real life is actually practice. Practice for receiving grace. Here's one thing I want you to try. Count how many gifts you've received this year. Not birthday ones, not the obligatory ones, the ones that came out of nowhere because someone just thought of you. And then check again next year. If the number goes up, it probably means you changed something. Not your output, not your productivity, not your morning routine, just the way you receive. And maybe the way you let your love land. Thank you for listening to this episode too. I hope you have a great day and see you next week. Bye. Okay, this is like off the record. I checked how many gifts that I got and I realized I got more than 11 gifts in 5 months in 2026. And I was used to say myself like, oh, you don't really have to. But now I'm like, oh my god, I give the best reaction that I can so that we both, have like a good mood. I guess it's also same from that when you eat something really delicious, you just want to share with other people, to share the joy of eating that delicious food. I guess grace and the love is something like that too. If you got the love and grace from the God that overflows in you and you just want to share it, you can just hold it to yourself. So I hope that the gifts and love and the grace, everything, probably just the things that you enjoy fully, and instead of just I don't want to give and I don't want to get, just give and also get. I guess those tiny little things sometimes just shape the life and shape the thinking, and you just want to more eager to give something too. Yeah, and that's like off the record. See you. Bye.